Casting up. Hello, everyone. Have you heard the news? We're live.
Hey, everybody, have you heard the news?
I am ready to rumble. I like our topic today. I think it'll be good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't listen to the naysayers. Well, because we've been making jokes about the robot uprising since the Buzz Out Loud days, so there's definitely people who are like, I'm tired of those jokes, and so this is our like, why do we fear the robots?
Should we? Should we
Should
really?
we? Or should we embrace our robot overlords?
We might not have a choice.
Maybe it won't matter. Maybe Elon Musk's Neuralink company will actually allow us to become the robots.
Is it really his company, or is he just investing in it?
He's investing in it.
Okay.
It's
Let's
not
not give him
his.
too much credit.
He ain't buying the whole
He's
thing.
got enough credit for other things.
Yeah. Alrighty. I'm just about ready.
I just want to go night-night.
I know, that's the problem with doing it after market close. As soon as the stock market closes, everybody gets sleepy.
Is that it?
No more stocks to trade.
Oh, I guess I'll take a nap.
Oh, look, Ellie's here.
Hi, Ellie
Hi,
Belly. Hi, Ellie. Hi, Ellie. Hi, Ellie Belly. Hi, Sweetie Belly.
She's like, maybe I'll
Hey,
be
cutie baby
entertained by you.
Belly. You got a hi?
Aw, you got a high.
Hi.
We're just ridiculous.
Ooh, okay, kisses. Kiss.
It's the baby show. You know, they say it's good for ratings. Babies and dogs. Babies, animals, and
Mwah.
rock bands.
Can I get a kiss, Ellie? Mwah. Mwah. Mwah.
I'm just going to start the show with that.
Mwah.
Mwah. Oh, look, she's imitating.
She's thinking about it. Mwah. Do it, Ellie. Mwah. She's like, nope.
Just think. This for her will be like the primitive times. Like, oh, I remember back when they used to use computers that way.
What, like for video?
Yeah, I'm like, when I was her age was just over 1. My uncle was using reel-to-reel tapes to record things, and he was considered like cutting edge. All right, let's get the show on the road. You ready?
Yeah.
Here we go. Daily Tech News Show is powered by you, the audience. Thanks to everybody who supports us at dailytechnewsshow.com/support. This is the Daily Tech News for Monday, March 27th, 2017. I'm Tom Merritt, Veronica Belmont with me today. How are you, Ms. Belmont?
Fantastic. Monday as usual.
Are you ready to embrace our robot overlords?
Always. I have been for 10 years now.
You've been pretty pro robot. I mean, not averse to cracking
Would you
the
say-
occasional,
Would you say I'm probot?
robot. Yes, I should have seen that one coming, shouldn't I? We're going to talk about a column that was in the Daily Telegraph today about from a psychologist about why we fear robots, why people fear robots. But then, of course, there are people like Veronica for the other side of the issue, why you shouldn't fear robots. But let's start with a few tech things you should know. Facebook added location sharing to its Messenger app Monday. You can choose to share your location with your friends for up to 60 minutes.
Nice. And Apple released iOS 10.3 with Find My AirPods, Wi-Fi calling on Verizon, Indian Premier League cricket scores from Siri, and a more prominent user security section in settings.
Nice. Now here are some more top stories. Samsung said it's evaluating which markets to sell refurbished Note 7s in.
Okay.
Yes. They will have smaller batteries. So the attempt would be to never have the same situation that led to the recall. They will not be available in the United States at all. And Samsung told The Verge that the name and the price of the refurbished models is not decided yet. That won't be announced until the device is available. My guess is they're not going to call these Note 7s. But what they're trying to do is recycle all of the material of all these recalled Note 7s. So the ones that don't become refurbished units for sale, Samsung plans to recover and use or sell components like chips and camera modules, either selling them piece by piece or using them in other models, and extract rare metals from them for reuse in other electronics.
I have mixed feelings about this. I feel like if they can't resell them in the United States, why is it okay to resell them anywhere? Is it a regulatory thing?
I was going to say, I don't know if it's that they can't or that they won't.
Is it an image thing?
Yeah. There was so much hype about this in the United States, it's not even worth selling the refurbs. We'll take it to markets where the Note, maybe they'll take it to markets where the Note 7 was never for sale.
Or is it like, do they value the lives and safety of people in other places less?
No, because these are going to be safe. Like they said, they'll have smaller. These won't have the good battery life, right? They're going to have smaller batteries, so they won't be pushed up and cause shorts. They're going to have different batteries. But yeah, I think it's your question about whether they value lives is exactly why they don't want to sell it in the U.S., because everyone's going to jump to the conclusion that these won't be safe, even though they probably will be.
I mean, I understand that, but at the same time, we had the expectation that the first phones were going to be safe. So now when you say, oh, but they'll be safe, I'm like, okay.
It is. No, it's a fair question because they sell Samsung Galaxy S phones right now. They're just fine. Why? Because their battery compartment is appropriately sized and doesn't squish the battery. So if you're using a smaller battery in these refurbished units, that gets rid of the problem, right?
I understand that in my logical brain.
I know, right? It's the like, yeah, and that's why they're definitely not going to call these Note 7, no matter where they sell them. I'm very much in favor of them making good use of these. It would be a shame for these to end up in a dumpster pile somewhere.
That's very true. And there are a lot of very expensive parts and components and materials in these phones, so it makes a lot of sense to find a second life for them. But anyway, moving on to other companies.
Hold on. Strike It Rich is suggesting they're going to call them the Samsung Firestarter, which I don't think is happening.
Don't think that'll happen. I was going to say, speaking of companies with other product image problems, Uber announced its fleet of autonomous cars in San Francisco. Pittsburgh and Arizona have all resumed operations. Saturday, one of the Uber's, the Volvo XC90s, was involved in a high-speed collision in Tempe. Tempe police reported that the Uber vehicle was not responsible for the accident, and there were no reported injuries. The accident was caused when another vehicle failed to yield, causing the autonomous vehicle to flip on its side. I saw the photos of this accident. It looked pretty wild, and obviously, like, I was reading all about this weekend. Man, it's been a rough weekend for Uber, that's for sure.
I was going to say, if this didn't come in the string of news that Uber has been dealing with its own internal operations and people leaving and accusations of harassment that continue to come from new quarters, I think they could weather this one pretty well. It's in some ways the best possible crash scenario. You know there's going to be one of these accidents at some point with an autonomous car. And so for it to be flipped is very bad, but no injuries is very good. For it to be in a crash is very bad, but have it to not be the fault of the autonomous car is very good. Having it be just the test driver and no passengers. I mean, they're super lucky in a lot of aspects of this. But of course, it's kind of the same thing as with the Note 7, where even though, hey, this is actually really, there's a lot of good news in here and among it, that's all going to get lost because of the perception of Uber right now.
But this kind of makes a case for more autonomous vehicles on the road because it was a human-operated car that caused the accident. You could say, well, if both vehicles were autonomous, the likelihood of that collision happening would have been far less. So maybe it helps make a case a little bit. I mean, obviously, I don't know the full story of why the accident really did happen, but I think we all are pretty aware that if we are living in a world where all cars are autonomous and able to communicate with one another, the likelihood of this kind of incident happening goes down to nearly zero.
Yeah, it certainly gets reduced quite a bit. And this is going to be an example that will be used when people talk about, well, what happens when the autonomous car can't avoid an accident? And like you say, the chances of that happening if the other car is also autonomous drop significantly.
You can make that play that super fun game where you have to make decisions about who you end up killing in an autonomous car.
Oh, yes, the trolley problem.
That's a fun thought
Always fun
exercise.
at parties. It's even better when you do the trolley problem and you put people in it, like on a trolley. You should be like in San Francisco on a cable car while you do the trolley problem.
Let's play trolley problem.
Yeah. UK Home Secretary Amber Rudd called the government's inability to access encrypted messages completely unacceptable. Here we go again. Rudd said people used to be able to steam open envelopes or tap phone calls, and that, quote, we need to make sure that organizations like WhatsApp don't provide a secret place for terrorists to communicate with one another. Of course, this is all based on the fact that the person who drove a car into a crowd in London apparently sent a message on WhatsApp, correct?
This was the London stabber.
Oh, this is, well, yeah, he drove a car and then stabbed. He did both.
I thought you were talking about maybe the Brussels attempt.
No, I'm talking about the London attempt where he drove a car into people and then got out and stabbed an officer. Yes, we're talking about the same one.
We are.
And he apparently sent a message by WhatsApp before he did this. So, there are lots of, I've seen some headlines where like WhatsApp refuses to hand over message. And again, I mean, I know you guys who listen to the show don't want to go through all of this again, but end-to-end encryption means that WhatsApp can't hand over that message. They don't have that message. If you have access to this person's phone, you have a better chance of finding out what that message is than WhatsApp does, because end-to-end encryption means WhatsApp can't see into this. So it's not that they're refusing, it's that they set up a system that has complete privacy. And now the calls begin like, well, maybe we would have found out something about this guy, or maybe we can find out some more about this guy if we can see his communications, and therefore we should weaken encryption for everyone. And that's the problem is you can't weaken it for this case, which we would all love to do, don't get me wrong, without weakening it for everyone.
And once we figure out a way to weaken it, then the encryption is pointless anyway.
Right.
Pretty much.
Because, again, we've gone through this a lot, but if you make a backdoor for the government, that means it is a backdoor that could be used by someone else. Now, can you say like, oh, well, we won't tell anyone else how to use it? Well, that's, if you know how the internet works, you know that once it's there and people know it's there, you have enough brains in the world working on it that someone will find it.
It's true. The New York Times has sources who say Amazon is considering opening furniture and appliance stores that would use virtual reality to show customers how items would look in their homes. Amazon is also considering an electronics store similar to Apple's retail stores. And I had a good time reading this article actually in the paper on Sunday. It was the big front page article in the business section. And they had some pretty good inside sources about people who have insider knowledge on what these stores are going to look like and how they're going to work. It's a pretty great article.
Did you read it in a paper?
I read it in a paper. I am a paper Sunday subscriber to the New York Times.
So that's what I love about this story now is that you, with an old-fashioned paper edition of a newspaper, read about Amazon opening old-fashioned brick-and-mortar stores.
That's right.
Because I think this shows that if you are one of the people who's always said, yeah, but there's still a reason you want to go into a store, this is Amazon saying, yeah, you're right. And we think we figured out what those reasons are. And old brick and mortar wasn't adapting to that new reality fast enough. I think this is very clever because furniture is definitely one of those things where I kind of want to see it. I want to sit on it. I want to be able to understand how it's going to fit into my store or into my home. And Amazon's saying, we'll not only show you, where you can sit on it and stand on it, but we'll help you figure out how to fit it into your home. What I don't know is, does this mean you have to take a picture of your house and then you feed it in? How does that part work?
Exactly. Yeah, I'm curious. Like, yeah, do you have to go around and do like a 360 camera, like photograph of the space? I mean, that would actually make sense.
I like, and honestly, that part of it, you don't have to be in a store. That part of it could be done online where I'm like, I scan my house, I put it in with its dimensions, and then they're like, hey, this chair would fit here. It kind of gets rid of the need to go into the store as much at that point, except for being able to touch it and sit on it and actually, interact with the piece of furniture in real life before you buy it.
Exactly. Yeah, I think that would be neat. Although, man, this really does. Amazon is just a powerhouse. It's incredible, all the stuff they're coming up with. And they have the cash and the people to set up this kind of store. And that's, that's like the next step for them.
We were talking about this the other day with somebody. Amazon doesn't have fanboys the way some other big brands do, right? Like you pick on Apple, or you pick on Microsoft, you pick on Android, that people rise to their defense. I don't feel like, and I'm not saying there aren't any, but I don't feel like Amazon has that same fervor.
Is it because, all right, I have a few theories.
Okay.
I feel like one could be that they just don't really do things that affect people in negative ways. I mean, unless you're like a mom and pop shop owner.
Right, because
or
there
like
used to be a lot of
retailer.
backlash about Amazon running bookstores out of business. But it
Right.
turns out that what they ran out of business was more the large chains than the small mom and pops.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's definitely some feelings around that. And I think that will continue to grow as they go into the brick and mortar space. But they're just kind of a utility at this point almost. I mean,
Yeah.
they provide so many goods and services for people, but they don't really. I mean, I guess I'm a Kindle fangirl. Like, I guess I'm an Audible fangirl. But there's no reason to really hate on them.
I was going to say,
guess.
maybe the problem is there just isn't there's not a clear other option, right?
Right.
I mean, yeah, you could shop at Walmart.com, but
Yeah,
or Jet or eBay but none of them are clearly like the alternative to Amazon.
Yeah.
You can get your web services from Azure, right? So
It's
there's
kind of
more.
like you either use Amazon a lot or you don't, or you probably use it once in a while.
Yeah.
Typically, the customer service is pretty great. Things are pretty cheap. It's like,
And yet they are becoming, I mean, people talk about, oh, there's too much Google in my life. Facebook's in too many parts of my life. Amazon's in the real parts of your life. They are becoming a cargo shipper. They serve most of your web data. They are the place everyone buys their things. Like, and now they're going to own all of the stores downtown.
it was very interesting in the article. Actually, they talked a lot about how Amazon has not done a successful job breaking into the grocery space as much as they had hoped to. Amazon Fresh and I guess Amazon Pantry to an extent as well just haven't been making the money that most of the other services do. And it's because people want to feel and see the produce. They don't trust ordering it as much from a company like Amazon. And I wonder how that makes a difference between, like, do people feel the same way about Instacart, or is it because it's their local stores? They have a higher threshold of trust for that since they know where it's coming from, versus Amazon Fresh. You're like, I don't really know where this produce is originating from.
And maybe it's originating from exactly the same place,
probably
right?
the
But
same
you
place.
think of Amazon as being this international thing, right? It comes from beyond, and that's not where you want your produce to come from necessarily. That's really interesting.
I like how you said beyond. It made me think of like Bed Bath and Beyond, the magical section in the back for the beyond.
And beyond. Yeah. Amazon Go is their convenience market experiment up in Seattle, and employees are using it, and they were supposed to open it up to the public this week because that's the solution, right? Is the convenience market where you go in and you get your food. It's mostly pre-prepared food, but there's fresh fruit and stuff too. And that you don't have to do anything. It just tracks you. It knows what you pick up and walk out with and just charges you, and you don't have to go through the checkout lanes. Apparently it's not working as well. They were supposed to open it this month and they're delaying it, and there's no word on the delay. So yeah, that part, the grocery part, the part that killed Webvan, that's the part that Amazon has yet to conquer.
That almost became our main story. We should move on.
I know. HTC is launching Make VR, a program that lets you do modeling and sculpting in virtual reality and then export the results to a computer-aided design, a CAD program, or maybe a 3D printer. HTC also released its Vive trackers. Those are the things you can add to a device so they can be tracked in VR. They are $100 per tracker for developers. So you could create, let's say, a specific gun for your shoot 'em up game, or maybe a bow and arrow thing, and everything on that can be tracked. They also posted the open source tracking system to GitHub. You'll need that as well. And content for the Vive is being developed with Warner Brothers to accompany the release of the movie Ready Player One in spring 2018.
Wow, cool.
I mean, yeah, especially because if you know anything about the book Ready Player One, it all takes place in a virtual world gaming universe. So how perfect is that?
That's going to be rad.
Yeah, I love this idea too of being able to sculpt things in VR, to create something in VR and then turn it into an actual product on your 3D printer or even your CAD design. I mean, I think this could ease the way for designers in a lot of situations.
Yeah, it's like being able to make things in the tilt brush, but actually being able to export them to something. Like if you can
Yeah.
export your tilt
Print
brush
your tilt
designs
brush.
into a 3D printer and have these cool like rainbow. I always make rainbow tunnels. I don't know why. It's
Your house would
San
just be filled
Francisco,
with 3D printed rainbow tunnels.
pretty much, and
Yeah.
cats,
And cats.
rainbow cats.
Hey, folks, if you want to get all the tech headlines each day in less than 10 minutes, subscribe to dailytechheadlines.com. It's actually, I'm gonna go change the template right now because it's pretty much 5 minutes these days. And yet, we still get all the hot headlines.
And yet.
That is a look at our top stories. All right. Elon Musk announced he's funding Neuralink, a way to connect your brain to AI. He says it's a bandwidth problem. That's all it is. Idaho has become the second state to pass legislation permitting unmanned ground-based delivery robots. That law goes into effect July 1st. Virginia was the first state to do this. Now Idaho's the second. Both of these stories are going to have people go, oh, great. Now the AI/robot is going to take over. Why are we afraid of robots? Well, that is what Linda Blair, a clinical psychologist writing for The Telegraph, had in her report or column or piece. Let's call it a piece for The Telegraph today. And Ms. Blair lines out, and no Linda Blair jokes. Let's just.
I thought it. I wasn't going there.
I thought it too. Okay. Her name is actually. She's probably gotten this enough in life. Her name is Ms. Blair. She said,
we're nerds. We can't help it.
Let's go through these four things she says, and you tell me how afraid you really are. Like, what's the reality behind this fear? We're afraid they'll take our jobs. We've talked about this a lot.
Super reality. Super real.
Totally real. Especially if you're in, let's say, a driver position.
A driver,
right?
Manufacturing is already happening. I mean, this is a near certainty.
The thing to remember with this, and I always try to walk the balance on this, because on the one hand, there aren't like a certain number of jobs that have existed throughout society, and every time we automate one, that's fewer jobs for all of us. What happens is we automate some jobs, that creates new jobs that we couldn't afford to have before because we were spending all of our time and energy on these other jobs. So it's not like there's a pot of jobs and the robot will take them and then they'll be gone. Well, we will find new jobs that can happen because of robots taking our jobs. However, it's not a clean transition. So the driver who loses his job to an autonomous truck can't immediately take that new job because A, he might not be qualified, or B, she might not be around when that job finally is figured out.
Mm-hmm. I mean, we got through the Industrial Revolution. We'll get through this. It just will take some time.
Yeah. And so you need to not despair about robots taking jobs, but you also shouldn't ignore the real outcomes and focus on like, okay, what do we do for the people whose jobs are being phased out by automation? And how do we help them to deal with the outcome of that? I don't think the answer should be keep the robots from doing the jobs, though. I think there's a better way to go. Number two, we fear losing control. If the robots come and start doing stuff, will we be able to tell them what to do, or will they just start? And this is the AI thing, right? They'll be able to just start doing whatever they want.
This is also true. I think it will take longer. But even when Stephen Hawking is concerned about something, I think it's pretty fair for me to also be concerned about that something. And Stephen Hawking has definitely said in the past that we have to be very careful about the artificial intelligence that we create and figure out early on how to monitor and prevent it from achieving full sentience.
Yeah. Well, and that's one of the things she talks about in here too, is that one of the issues is automation is fine. Like we're actually, we can control that. Even some self-determination is fine, but we don't know what our ethics should be. And so if we get robots that
we don't have a standardized ethics.
Yeah. If we get robots that are at the level of needing ethics, we can't even tell ourselves what the ethics should be, we're not going to be able to tell the robots.
It's already too late.
Yeah. Number three, we worry about losing the ability to distinguish between robots and humans. This isn't one I've thought of as much. That idea of like, I meet someone, I get to know them, I become friends, and then discover they're a robot.
Face to face, this is going to take many, I think, several generations for this to be a problem. However, I ran a story this week in my bots newsletter about robocall AI. And essentially, there's a new robocall scam going around where they dial you up and you hear like someone fiddling with a headset or something. And then eventually they go, "Oh, hello, can you hear me?" And if you say yes, they can edit the script to make it sound like you have agreed for some kind of service or fee or timeshare or whatever it is they're trying to sell. It hasn't become a widespread issue yet, but at least one person so far has had to figure out how to get $100 worth of stuff that he allegedly purchased because they took his yes response and re-edited it into a statement of assent.
Uh-huh.
And so that's a big problem right now. So that's
that's
the
not
most
a
recent
robot
scam.
in the mechanical "hello,
No.
I am a robot" sense, but it is an artificial. It's a bot.
It's an automated system.
Yeah.
It learns. It's able to listen for certain keywords and commands, and that's a problem. That's a robot pretending to be a person.
It's great. So now we have to worry about having our quotes being taken out of context on telemarketer calls.
So just the rule is never say yes, never respond.
Yes,
to a call
I can.
Like that.
Or oh shoot, I just did it. Yeah.
Yeah. See,
Can you
just
hear
don't.
me? I can hear you.
Don't even say I can. I
Right?
can.
'Cause
Could be
then-
like, do you agree?
I mean,
can.
honestly, this doesn't even have to be a bot. A human could be on the other end. They could still do all this editing too.
Yeah, but they're able to call a lot faster.
Yeah, exactly. It's all about scale. Number 4, we're afraid of the pace of advancements. I think this is probably the most common, which is not I fear robots. It's I don't understand what's going on and what they can do. And I feel like maybe they can do more than they're telling me they can do. And I don't want to hand over control yet, because what if I'm handing over too much control? What if I just said yes to a bot and I agreed to, a condo purchase
You just sold your firstborn. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. A condo purchase on my firstborn.
Yes.
The worst.
Totally valid and definitely true. We are all behind what is definitely already happening. We just don't know enough. We're always playing catch up with the latest news. I'm constantly astonished by the level of technology that robots and artificial intelligence have already achieved.
I think this is the one, and I don't want to be too self-congratulatory, but this is the one that we are addressing on this show. Like, the whole point of this show is to help people understand more about what's going on in technology. So hopefully we're doing our part on DTNS to reduce the anxiety and fear caused around number 4, because at least you get to know what those advancements are, and hopefully we're giving you a more accurate picture of how far along we are. Because yes, you hear a lot of crazy things. You hear about Elon Musk investing in a company that's going to connect AI to your brain. That doesn't mean they can do it yet. Doesn't mean Elon Musk is doing it. It means there's a company out there that thinks they might be able to make some small progress toward that goal. And it was convincing enough that Elon Musk sunk some money in it. But that doesn't mean if we can't get battery tech with all of the advancements we've talked about over the years to replace lithium-ion batteries, you know that progress is not as fast as the headline tells you.
Exactly.
Well, thanks to everybody who participates in our subreddit, even the bots. You get kicked out pretty fast, though. We have pretty good moderators. Thank you, moderators, at our subreddit. Submit stories and vote on them at dailytechnewsshow.reddit.com. A couple of emails before we're out of here. Al in London said, so the terrorist incident in London last week has produced politicians demanding that WhatsApp and other messaging applications must not provide a secret platform for terrorists to communicate. We had this in our top stories today. He said, I don't want to rehash this all over again, but there was a lot of good discussion on this on DTNS last year. I was hoping you might be able to post some of the links to the thought pieces on pros and cons of messaging in the show notes. It would be great to be able to share with people for whom this debate is only just becoming relevant. Al, that's great. I posted a couple links that will be in our show notes at dailytechnewsshow.com. There's one called Stronger Locks, Better Security by the Electronic Frontier Foundation. That's a very technical approach of like, this is why you need encryption for honest people, and you shouldn't weaken it because of that. And the other one's Bruce Schneier, The Importance of Strong Encryption to Security, and why weakening encryption would be bad for security for everyone. So I'll have those two in the show notes as well. And if anybody thinks of any others that you think are very good at shedding light on this issue, email them to us, feedback at dailytechnewsshow.com. We'd appreciate it. I don't know if you have a favorite go-to for this kind of thing, Veronica. I always just have to do a search.
Yeah. No, I don't.
Yeah.
But this is a good starting point for sure.
Another J. Martin wrote in and said, I'd like to recommend the Chrome and Firefox extension H264ify. You can find it on GitHub. I am an extensive Chrome user on my MacBooks, says another J. Martin. I've been noticing YouTube videos always have high CPU usage, even with hardware acceleration turned on, and in Safari, they hardly use any CPU. The high CPU makes the laptop run hot and quickly drains the battery. After some research, I found a great article on howtogeek.com explaining what's happening. Basically, Google forces the browser to use their open source VP8 and VP9 codecs on YouTube videos. However, Macs don't have hardware acceleration for those codecs, only for the patent-laden but more widely accepted H.264. The H.264ify extension forces all your YouTube videos, including live streams, to send in H.264. It's a dramatic improvement in CPU usage, and on my 2015 MacBook Pro, I went from 75% CPU to 10%. I highly recommend everyone get this, says another J. Martin. Oh, you're still muted. Or it's the VP8 or VP9 codec.
I am definitely muted. Hello.
What were you going to say?
That's a huge difference.
Yeah. No, that's crazy. I don't even really watch that much video in my browser, but that big drop, that promise of that big drop makes me want to try this extension for sure.
Yeah, I don't watch them in YouTube videos anymore, but I feel like something's going on with my Chrome recently. I need to figure out what the culprit is.
Yeah. Well, they also just changed the way background processes work when the tab isn't in focus, and that has thrown off the way a lot of things work, where they thought they can use your CPU while they're in the background, and now they can't, which is good for your battery life, but bad for your background tabs. And always.
And so on and so forth.
Yeah, and so on to the end of the world. Well, thank you, Veronica, as always.
Of course.
I saw your bot zine today. Tell folks a little more about that and how they can read that.
Sure. Well, so for those of you who don't know, I'm also an admin for a community of bot makers and enthusiasts called smartly botmakers.org. And I put out a weekly newsletter built around some of the articles that our community members put on the Slack, and also from other stuff that I've found around the internet from following lots of different bot creators and other websites and newsletters. And so it's called Botzine. And you can find it either on my Twitter or I think that's, I don't know what the short URL is for the Get Review link, but we'll put it in the show notes.
Okay, yeah, we'll get that in the show notes. There is botzine.org. Would that get you to it? Or
I'm not sure if that's the same thing.
Got it. All right, just look in the show notes. We'll have it there for you as well. Hey, thanks to everybody who gives a little value back to the show for the value they get from it, including Alina, Byron Cost, Tamer El Hamalawi. Apologize if I butchered that name. But thank you for supporting the show. We exist entirely on your giving value back if you get value for this show. So if you would like to join those folks, go to patreon.com/DTNS. Our email address is feedback@dailytechnewsshow.com. We're live Monday through Friday, 4:30 p.m. Eastern at alphageekradio.com and diamondclub.tv. And our website is dailytechnewsshow.com. Back tomorrow with Patrick Beja. Talk to you then.
Is part of the Frog Pants Network. Get more at frogpants.com.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.
Good show.
It is botzine.org. I forgot about that one. I didn't want to say it was in case it was like some other random website.
That's actually the perfect solution.
Yeah.
Because that way I said it so it'll stick in people's names and it's right. Stick in people's minds. Yes.
Oh, perfect. Titles.
What do we got?
You got Probot, Robopocalypse, Samsung Firestarter, Samsung's Refer Boom.
Get it.
Samsung plans Note 7 fire sale.
Samsung hopes the Note 7
Samsung reduces Firestarter Note. Amazon wants to augment your melon squeezing.
Yeah.
Samsung hopes to re-explode into the Note 7 market. Amazon wants you to sit on it. So sit on it. The same as online shopping, except not at home. Oh, Amazon store the same as online shopping, except not at home. I welcome our
Listen,
new
our
robot
audience,
overlords.
shut down the melon squeezing. It's not going to be melon squeezing. So you can vote for it, but I'm not picking it.
It's only democracy, odd, showbot.tv.
I like Probot.
I like
Probot. Ghost of the Cold Call. Robopocalypse.
Oh, can you hear me? I mean, honestly, that's just the only technology part of that is the scale, right? Like before, that's something they could have done, but it just would have taken a long time to make the calls and then edit them. But now you can have machine learning just do it.
Mm-hmm.
Have you heard that one where there's a woman on the end, and it sounds like she's fumbling with her headset? It's like, oh, excuse me, my headset was on.
Yeah.
Just keeps you long enough that pisses you.
I overheard a friend of mine I'll just say it. It's Brushwood. Earlier, he was on the phone, and I don't know what he was talking to, but he said, "I know this sounds weird, but I think you might be a robot. So say the word," and I couldn't hear what word he made them say. I wonder if he was getting one of these calls.
I've gotten 3 of them since I moved here.
Really?
Yeah, I think it's something to do with Spectrum, because that's the only.
The fumbling, like.
Yeah, like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. My headset wasn't on.
Oh,
like
really?
it's just and it's really obnoxious.
Oh, that's crazy. Yeah.
I said, I would buy your shoe. And she just continues on with her spiel. I will buy your shoes. Rogopop, Amazon was talking. Probot. I would go with Probot. Sounds like sounds like a digestive aid.
Like probiotics.
Yeah, probiotics. Probiotics. What's the yogurt? Not Aleve. Ensure? No.
It's what is it called? I can see it. Activa.
Activa.
I hate that thing.
Good memory.
Because I remember seeing those in not Holiday Inns, but Best Westerns. When you go into their continental breakfast, they have the whole fridge stacked with those or Yoplays.
All right, we good here?
Yes,
yeah, Probot.
We are. Probot it is.
No melon squeezing.
No melon squeezing.
Although technically you don't want to squeeze the melon. You want to tap it.
Bruises them.
Yeah.
You want to tap it. Well, at least with the watermelon, you want to knock on it.
Bruise the melons. Anyway, bye, guys.
Bye, V.
See ya.
Probot.
I bought my house. It was in probate. It was in Probot.
I'm waiting for robot attorneys.
Well, there are some of those. The one that helped you get out of parking tickets, for instance.
Yeah, but that's, like actual litigation attorneys.
Yeah. That one didn't actually show up in court.
What's the in Britain and Commonwealth? There's a barrister and then there's the solicitor. Who's the one that actually goes to bat for you in court? The barrister, right?
I think so.
Here we just call them attorneys. Harvey Birdman, attorney at law. You ever seen the Law Hawk videos? Those are great.
Law Hawk? I don't know.
It's like this guy out of not Austin, but he's in Texas, and he has these really funny videos flogging his practice, and his whole thing is, "I'm the Law Hawk," and he has like these really funny situational, like a breathalyzer test or anything like that. He's super popular. He got not this past Super Bowl, but the previous Super Bowl. He was in the Taco Bell ad.
Oh,
because he was famous locally and then became internet famous.
So they're real ads?
Yeah, I'll send them to you.
Okay, I thought it was just like a show.
No, he's a real guy. He I guess he said in law school they were coming up with animal totems. Like that represent who they are. So,
okay.
Like you have legal eagle, right, but that's where you take it. So I'll be Law Hawk.
Law Hawk. Swooping down upon
Brian Wilson, Law Hawk.
Brian Wilson is his name?
Yeah. I know, it's very Beach Boys.
Yeah.
Like, but here, I'll share it with you. Here. Look at that, that's his whole page.
Law Hawk. Hawking the law.
He would be someone great to get on. If
Oh,
only
he's Brian
just.
E. Wilson, so that differentiates him from the Beach Boys a little bit.
Was it the other Brian Wilson passed away? Right?
Isn't that horrible that I can't remember for sure?
I mean, I think there's only 2 of them left. I mean, the original ones, not the We Go Touring, but.
No,
oh,
he's
no,
still
not
alive.
yet. He's still alive. Who knows? Jeez. It's
You
satanic.
just want everyone to be dead. I don't really think that's true, but don't hurry Brian Wilson from this earth. Oh, you're playing the Lawhawk now?
Yeah.
He does a lot of shouting.
That's his shtick.
Which part is he in Dallas?
He might be. Let me check on his Lawhawk blog about the firm. Fort
Lawhawk
Worth.
blog.
Fort Worth Criminal Defense. So I guess you can.
Dallas Fort Worth. Yeah.
5 things you should know when police come to your house.
From the Lawhawk.
This is really good. I mean, part of it is I have a very limited understanding of Texas state law, but
Well, now you'll get up to speed thanks to the Lawhawk and his screaming hawk of lawness, of legality. Robot arms. Wow, he's got sirens in his ads. That was loud. We've lost Roger. He's gone down the Lawhawk rabbit hole.
Man, these things are so funny. Like, you get hooked. We thought they were crazy because we were watching that Rhett and Link from Good Mythical Morning. They did all those local ads.
Yeah.
So we thought this was one of them, but it wasn't.
Right. Well, that's when you first started describing it to me, I thought it was like a shtick, like it was some parody series or something. Especially when you said he was in the Taco Bell ad, I'm like, oh, okay, so the guy got another acting gig. It's like, oh no,
he's an actual lawyer. Yeah.
Funny.
He says it's helped him out, like because a lot of your clients come as referrals.
Yeah.
People don't normally just put your finger in the yellow pages. I'm going to hire this guy.
Yeah, and in the downtime between cases, he shoots a new video and drums up a little more business.
The hammers of justice.
He is kind of the sort of lawyer, though, that Better Call Saul is. Or that actually Breaking Bad Saul, more so than Better Call Saul. Have you been injured? Call this number. We can get you money.
So the money's great, but it's the problem is depending on how they structure their fees, sometimes you end up with like peanuts.
We'll get lots of money for us. Yeah.
That's what happened to my dad. He finally got the insurance company to pay, but most of that went to legal fees. It sucks.
Well, it's one thing if what you're really trying to do is get a bill paid, right? Like I had a healthcare bill and they want me to pay it and you should pay it because you're at fault. And if the legal company gets that plus damages and keeps most of the damages, kind of feel like that might still be worth it, right? Because you didn't want to have to pay the original bill. But if you're just trying to get damages and then you end up going through all that hassle and you don't end up with a lot of money and it all goes to lawyers, then it kind of.
But that's the thing is like trying to get. This is the thing with certain insurance companies is they just don't want to pay up. It's like your kitchen wasn't up to code. My dad said, "What are you talking about? You were here last month and you just signed off on it."
Yeah, that one should be pretty cut and dried.
Nah, but the thing is they stretch it. They try to break you.
They will break you. All right, kids. I am out of here. Thanks everybody for watching. I hope you had a good magical Monday. And we will be back tomorrow with more tech news to help you understand the world around you. Fare thee well.
Fare thee well.